Hi guys, so finally, if we close these folders in here, we're going to see how we can render everything in here. So let's close these and close this tile gallery, and I'm going to leave this one only in here. So let's go to render your project in here, and if you are rendering in full HD, you're going to double click on that to open this up, or else you're going to render in 4K. You're going to double click on that and open this up right over here. Now what you can do in here, if you are rendering in 4K, you will need to go to styles and simply drag the style that you are working on and drag it right over here. For instance, in this case it's style 01, and as you can see it's right over here, and you're going to select the duration that you would like to render in here, for instance 5 seconds, and then you can go ahead and export, and we will see how we can do that at a later stage as well. So but what you can do also in here, you can stack different ones after each other in here, and what I have done in here, I have pressed Ctrl Shift and D on my keyboard to split this layer. I'm going to delete this part, and now for instance you can drag and drop another style and have another one play right after it, and construct your own video in here with different titles, etc. Now one thing is that normally I would like to simply render a single title in here with the duration that I like. Normally 10 seconds is good for most titles, so I would make sure to choose this before you render, since it would take much more if it's set to full in here, but I normally like to use 10 seconds and render that. Then you can edit the footages that you have rendered in a different, if you'd like to stack them after each other, you can edit them in a different software, since as you know After Effects is mostly used for these kinds of things with titles and animations and that, and not for editing. So the same way, if I go to render in full HD, I'm going to simply drag and drop my style in here. So let's see, let's drag and drop this is the one that we were working with, and in this case I'm drag and dropping the styles directly and not using this style in 4K version here, so I'm closing that. And once again, you can stack different styles after each other, but normally I recommend to render one at a time in here, since you can edit them much better when you have it rendered in there. So to render, now what you can do is you can go to composition here and choose add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue or add to render queue, and then specify your settings, etc. So we will see how to do that in a second, but first we can see how we can use the transitions. So if you would like to use still two different styles in here, let's split this. So Ctrl Shift D, I'm going to delete this part in here, and let's say I have customized the silver one in here and I'm going to use the silver. So I'm going to drag it right after it, right in here. And of course, since this is not rendered, it would take some time, but it's right over here. Now in this case, it has the titles missing in here, but since we haven't customized this design, but of course you can change this design with another design from right over here. For instance, this one. Let's see what this is. And it's actually quite good for the silver version here. And let's go back to the render in full HD in here. And we have this silver, and I would like the first one to play in here, the minimal one, and then the silver one. Now, what I can do, if I close everything in here, I have right over here, let's close these, and let's close these tiles. Inside the utilities, I have the transitions. So what I can do is we can go to the transition gallery and see these in action here, what they do. And basically you have two different kinds of transitions in here. First you have these kind of light flares in here, etc. Light leaks. And then in here you have these smooth transitions in here. And these would work a little bit different how you would use them. So let's take an example of each and see. So I'm going to use this one, the first one, and that is transition 01. And then at a later stage I'm going to use this one, which is transition 16. So let's go to render in full HD, go to transition 1, and you're going to simply drag and drop this in between in here, like that, and set the transfer mode to either screen or add. And these are the same transitions that were used to create the actual promotion video that we have for our toolkit. And as you can see in here, what this does is let's render a bit of it. Let's make it, switch it to quarter and render a bit of it. What it does, it will have a light leak over it, switch everything to white in there for us, and then smoothly go back in here to our silver version. So that's what these transitions do. Actually, we need to position it a little bit right over there, and that's it. So that's how that transition would work. So simply drag and drop it and set the transfer mode to add or screen. So that's for that. Now for the other version, which is transition 16 in here, and you have some others in here. So if you go to transition gallery, you have these 6 in here. What you're going to do is you're going to go in here and use them in a similar way. Right over here. Now one thing that we have to mention is that these are in 4K. So if you are using them with full HD, normally I recommend to scale them down to 50% to have the correct size in here for us. Now if we do this, you can see that it's just switching it all to white. So to use this, you're going to align these. If we increase the size from here, zoom up, align this just above this one. And what we're going to do is we're going to select from here, from track matte, we're going to select to alpha matte. And what this will do, basically it will use the white to reveal this one right over here. And make sure that the transition is right above the one that you want to reveal. And now I'm going to place this over the other one. So right now we have that one playing, and then the next one will reveal right above it, just like that. Now one thing to note is that once the transition happens and this stops, it will switch back to black. So one thing that you need to remember to do is simply, let's go to preview here. It's simply go in here and split this. So Ctrl+Shift+D on your keyboard, or you can also split it from here. And make sure that this is set on top in here. Or if it is set in another place, make sure that it doesn't have an alpha matte in here. Make note, alpha matte, like that. And now it will continue to play. So now if we play this, let's give it a few seconds to render it out. it will reveal it like that, as you can see. And actually what I have done, this should be always at the top in here. Make sure that the one that you are revealing is always at the top. And let's see how that works. And you can see how the transition works. Very smooth transition in there. That wipes right over there. So now that we have stacked the different styles after each other in here, and we have used as well the transition, we can finally render. So select the duration that you would like to use. You can, of course, now move these wherever you like to transition a bit earlier, for instance. And we can preview it in here, and we can also render. So to render, let's close these for now. And to render, what we're going to do is we're going to go to composition, and we're going to select, I like selecting add to Adobe Media Encoder Queue, since this gives us a little bit more flexibility, and it will basically open up a new software, which is the Media Encoder Queue in here, the Media Encoder. And in here it should pop up this new design here. Now we have this one already loaded in here. I'm going to delete it for now. And you should have this one loaded up in here. And now, in my case, I have a preset set up in here for the rendering, but I'm going to show you the settings that I have in there. So this could take some time in here to open up, since it is reading the file. And there we have it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to give it an output name. So let's give it an output name in here, which is new, let's say new video. Render in here. Click save. Give it an output name, and of course choose the output destination from your Explorer. Then if you are using any audio, you can simply click the export audio in here. And to include audio, since we haven't mentioned this, let's press OK for now. What you will need to do before you export in here, you will need to include, of course, the audio in here. Now, this has stopped. Okay, it came back. So, of course, what you need to do is, let's see, we need to drag and drop our audio file in here, just like as we have done with the footage. And as soon as it loads up in the project window in here, you can drag and drop it in here, and now we have the audio in here set up. And if you have any other footage that has audio in it and you don't want it, you can switch these off. But if you want the audio and the footage, you can switch that on. So now back to the media encoder. If you go back in here, now that we have audio, we can select the export audio. And then in here, everything is set up for us at 1920. As you can see. If it's not, you can click match sorts to match it up in there. And it's in full HD, as you can see in here. And the target bitrate I like to use a 35 in here. Just give it 35 in here and the 35 in there. And press OK. And then simply hit this green button here, and it will start rendering for you, as you can see from here. So that's basically it. I hope you enjoy using this toolkit. It's quite versatile, as you can see in here. You have a lot of options in here. You have different backgrounds, you have different flowers, titles, icons, and you can do lots of things with it. Of course, you have the different styles in here. But if you would like to simplify it all and use the pre-made designs, you can go ahead and use the pre-made designs from here, but of course you can go ahead and also construct your own designs and make something fancy, something unique for yourself. So that's basically it. I hope you enjoy using this template, and thank you very much for watching and for your trust for this toolkit. Thank you very much.